Recording in progress. Hello, good to see you. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Hannah. Yay! All right, here we are. We're doing the wealthy thing. Oh my goodness. Uh I was in a retreat all weekend and it was like my first really like powerful retreat in a couple years. And because I needed to chill a moment, I needed to integrate some shit. I need to just like, woo. Um, and wow, I'm just like, yeah, just super integrating. And it's reminding me a lot about like money. Um, and it's funny, I slept 10 hours last night, 11 hours the night before. And I woke up this morning. I could have slept more today too, but I was like, I gotta get up. I gotta wake myself up and walk my dog and like orient myself to being alive today. like, and yeah, I just like know I need some time to like just ground and integrate and like clean my house and do tasks. And it's so it really mirrors expansion in business and expansion in with money because we're going to have these periods where we maybe have all these downloads and these ideas or these like, oh, I'm believing something that isn't true and I'm going to opt in to shifting what I believe because I don't want to hold on to this like worn out thing that isn't even true. And or having like these moments, so it could be like internal expansion or also external expansion where we've like been doing the work and next thing we know we're like, oh my god, here's all the clients, here's all the money, um here's what I've been like working towards. And then we have to learn how to ground it and learn how to sustain it and learn how to keep that, like if we have this internal breakthrough we're like, oh, this is actually my direction, I feel clarity, then it's like, okay, then you have to go do the steps. You have to learn how to sustain it, keep it going. If you have this internal expansion that's like, oh, I'm actually going to believe something that's different, then you have to keep repeating it to work it into your, into your nervous system, into your brain. You have to like stick with it. Um, if you have the external expansion and all the things come, you have to learn. This was a big lesson for me because my business grew relatively quickly, right? If you actually count the time from my business, but what, like my business 5x from year one to year two, but what you don't see, well, you see it because I tell you, but is that I built social media for like 3 solid years, like religiously before I ever started a business, before I ever sold anything. So that's part of the reason that it really grew a lot. And I had a lot of other really strong foundations. But then I remember to year three, I was like, well, I'm just going to 5X it again. And that didn't happen. I actually had to learn, like the wisdom was for me. It could have happened if I had just kept pushing, right? If I had like really forced it. But the wisdom was actually learning how to sustain that and learning how to be like an actual like steward of that amount that was already coming. And then we also have times where it's not an expansion. It's like an ebb, it's a clearing, it's a big letting go, it's a big making space. And I talked about this some in the, for those of you all who are tuning in with Untamed Visionary, we had a call on Friday and I talked about this a lot. I talked about it with my teacher this weekend. I've just been bursting out crying like all weekend. So I'm like, that's the state I'm in. It's just, I feel myself like wanting to like emotion building up. I like am in that state where I was driving to the practice and I saw like a singular tree on a hill on a distant hilltop and I just started bawling because it was so beautiful. So you know, I know you all have been there. So I'm just like integrating that. But I was talking about it with my teacher. I was like, I I'm really thankful that like, when everything happened with my ex, it was really hard, you all. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That was so hard to recognize like, oh, all of these things that I thought were true about this person were wrong. And like not being able to live in my house, which I loved my house, you all. Like if you if you have followed me since then, I loved that house. I loved it. Like suddenly it just being gone and being like completely displaced, not really being able to show up for my business in the ways that I won't say not really, not being able to show up for my business in the ways that I was. It was so hard. And, but because I was like choosing to see there are lessons here. There is wisdom here. There are clearings here. And it was really like me clearing out these patterns of like letting men treat me like shit, and which has happened. I mean, it's like every woman has been there. You know what I mean? Maybe not to that level, but like I've seen my mom go through it. Like I can't think of a single woman that I know who hasn't been through that. And it's not like a man hating conversation or anything like that, but it's just like that's been my pattern. When I think of like there's been a couple of men who were really nice to me and I ran away from them. Honestly, I was like, no. Like there was this one guy who proposed to me when I was like 21, which I wasn't ready. But he was really nice. And he started talking about getting married and I broke up with him on the spot. I was like, no. And in my mind, I was like, he doesn't understand me because he was too emotionally stable. He hadn't experienced a bunch of trauma like I had, so I was bored and like confused. Figured that out later. But yeah, but it's just like I seeing that as something that is going to support my spiritual development, my business development, my financial development long term. So in the short term, there was an ebb, there was a like stall, there was a backwards, there was a release. But long term, like by me being like, oh, this is clearing out me patterns of being with men who don't fully support me, who aren't really cheering me on, or actually like using me and manipulating me. How much is this going to serve me in the long run? Serve my business, my finances, my well-being, my self-worth. And really having to look at my parts, um, and see like this is just as much, this is like my responsibility to change. I can't go out here and be like, you have to treat me differently. You have to do this. This is my responsibility to hold. So in our relationship with money, in our relationship with business, when we're having a frustration, a challenge, something that's like, we're confused. Why is this happening? Why is there an ebb? There's wisdom there. There's a lesson. There's something there that is going to serve you if you really sit with it and take responsibility. And it might be like learning to take better care of money, learning to manage money better, learning to be better at sales, learning, like I said, I said this in the Untamed Mastermind in a drop yesterday around like the different nutrients. One of the things that I had is for a long time, I was really pouring into social media and very much enjoying it. And then I kind of stopped. Once I started my business, I like didn't want to be on social media as much and wasn't really enjoying it as much and felt a lot of conflict around it. And I recognized really like in this last year that the lesson for me is that I have to keep it like nurturing my relationship with social media, enjoying it, building connection. And like, and I've been working on that ever since, and it's been great. I've been learning a lot. So, okay, that's my like tangent for you all today. Do I have any things for you all? Any logistics? Yes. If you are interested in having more support, the Heart Led Business Collective, I said this last week, the price is going up on May 19th. So again, actually have the link up. Do I? Yeah, I do. Because I keep all my links up all the time. Wealthy has a rate, I think it's 210 a month, and then there's a pay in full option. The full price right now is 350 a month, but everything's about to go up by $600 total, and I'll probably raise it again at the end of this year. So if you're wanting like weekly support, lots more personalized support, you know, conversations beyond wealthy. Yeah, I know. I've actually been feeling into that. And I think I'm going to bring that conversation to I really understand. I really understand. Um I yeah, I hadn't gotten any support in a while. So I had hired a one-on-one coach before like everything happened in my business and in my life. And this was someone who, at least in my experience, it just wasn't a good fit for what I was going through. There wasn't like the depth and the understanding. She kind of just told me to just like push through it and just do everything anyway. And I was like, girl, excuse me, like, what are you talking? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And just didn't have like the same, like we didn't hold the same values. And um, so I finished out that container, and I also had so much like I had to move through because I spent a lot of money on it, you all, that I was like, dang, I wish I had this money to put toward other things, things that would like serve me better than this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hannah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. And I, 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 like a year after everything, over a year actually. So that all started in March. And then in June last year, I felt really called to work with this coach who was someone who I had known, right? Who I had known and who knew me. And so there was already this level of trust. And I just was like knowing that I needed support because I was ready to start like really like growing things again, but I just knew I needed more support and I was really scared. And so, but I moved through it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like kind of be in that energy. Like there's this paradox of investing in ourselves where there is an edge, but it's not taking yourself be like so far past the edge it's going to blow out your nervous system, or so far past your edge that you like recognize that, oh, I didn't actually like I hired this person for the wrong reasons. And so I ended up hiring her and I've been working with her ever since, and it helped so much. And but I did have to have this moment where I was like, okay, I'm coming up against a lot of like you said, some like coaching trauma of investing in things and then being like, all right, this isn't helping me. And I just, all right. And um, yeah. And, but I mean, you all know this. It's like having that support, not just in coaching, but like across the board has, it's so necessary and it's scary. Like anytime, and I've done this for so long, and I know you all have too. Like you've done this before, you've been here before. Anytime I hire a coach or invest in a container or any support, right? Like whether it be like I'm starting to go to acupuncture more, get more like I just leveled up my expenses with where I moved to. What are other things? Like getting more team support. Like those commitments are scary. Like I'm not gonna lie, they're scary. Still to this day with me, they're scary. But it's this like coming into and working with like, is this true? Is this actually going to be supportive? Can I trust myself? Can I also trust this person? You know, and only you really know the answer to that. I can't be like, I'm not gonna be here and be like, you can trust me, buy my things, you know. But I've recognized, I will say that I've recognized that, like, I mean, you all know, because you've been in wealthy, I feel like my spaces do offer a depth because of like just my level of like study and support and just like personal experience that not every container offers, or not every coach offers. And one of the values that I'm really working with in my business and holding is it being like a really nurturing space, and for people to come in and just be like, oh my God, like, this is what I've been like praying for. This is the kind of, and so I'm getting chills. Ugh, I'm getting chills. You can't tell. You probably can't tell. Anyway, but yeah, in the Heartland Business Collective, our calls, our weekly calls, and like everyone in there, the feedback is just like over and over and over again that it's just like such a nurturing, real, like, it's not performative. You don't have to live up to anything. You're just coming to get support and like receive. Megan's giving a heart because Megan's in there. And um yeah, and I'm holding such a strong pillar and building my business in a way where like where I don't want people to have, yeah, like you're saying, this like kind of coaching trauma from being in my spaces. I don't want that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what I've been working, because I've experienced that and it sucks. It sucks. So it's working on like bringing that depth, making sure that the pricing feels really like I also just gotten really clear. I got clear on this a couple years ago. I had the demand to keep raising my one-on-one prices. My one-on-one prices now are actually half of what I've charged, of like the highest I've ever charged. And I'm not saying I'll never raise them, but I don't want my scaling to come from just like continuing to raise my prices, raise my prices, raise my prices, raise my prices. And I could do that, but it's not aligned with me. And it's just not, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Um, there will be price raises and things, but not to the point where it's like, yeah, where that's like my only, or one of my very few like marketing tactics is just like, oh, well, you're not making money because you haven't spent all this money. It's just not, yeah, it's just not for me. That was a huge part of the mentality in the space I was in, just keep raising the price. And we almost had to in order to pay for the container, which also kept going up. Yeah, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I feel really clear, like the Heartland Business Collective, I'm doing a price raise on it because I actually feel like the price is like low right now. Like it feels low, but it's not going to be this thing where next thing you know it's like $2,000 a month. It's not going to be that. And I also, like, for me too, I want to like work with a wide range of people. I don't only want to work with coaches who, like, again, raise your price, raise your price, raise your price, and only work with other coaches. Like, I want all sorts of businesses in there. And my coaching has been diversifying. I've had more and more clients who are just like in a wide range of careers. And so like it doesn't make sense for me to like tell someone who has a brick and mortar business like, oh, just raise your price. Like, no, there's a market. There's a market. You know what I mean? And of course there's things that we can do to like increase your value, but like it's just, that's not, I just, I want to be better at scaling than just that, just charging more. So, okay, that's all I'm going to say about all of that. So, just in short, I understand your fear. If you want to speak to me directly, if that would help, just send me a message on Instagram. Um, But yeah, you all know what's going to serve you. And yeah, and I trust you. And it's an awesome space. We have a really good time. I'm not gonna lie. We do a lot of good things in there. We do a lot of good things in there. I'm really proud of it, to be honest. I've been like putting a lot of energy and intention and love into it, and I'm really proud of it. Okay, you all. All right, all right. So I want to get to. I just talked for so long, but these are all good things. These are these are, these are all important things. All right. So who would like